Dabo hires who? Someone else that's experienced? I'm talking about that in just a second. Welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here. If you like college football, you like talking Clemson football, you're at home. I hope you'll subscribe. It is free. I do appreciate it. Dabo makes yet another move to hire someone who has, wait for this, sit down, don't soil your britches, experience. He hires former Eastern Carolina head coach Mike Houston to assist new defensive coordinator Tom Allen on the defensive side of the football. Now, for some of you, you're like, okay, Brian, Sweeney's brought in guys like Ted Roof. He's brought in guys like Terry Bowden. This is nothing new. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But to me, this is yet another move to bring in more experience into the coaching room for Clemson. This is yet hiring Mike Houston, a guy who has a lot of experience, a guy who's been coaching for a while, a guy who's coached at different levels of college football. I'm talking about all the way back to Brevard College up in Brevard, North Carolina, to Lenore-Rhyne, if I'm saying that properly. When I say he coached at the Citadel, let me look at that. I think he did coach at the Citadel. Yeah, he coached at the Citadel. And then, of course, he won a national championship at James Madison and went on to East Carolina. Had some success at East Carolina. He was let go last year after a bad start. Stuff happens. But I'm going to tell you this. This, I think, is another good hire by Dabo. This is not going to burn up the woods. This is not going to make just national news. This is easy to fly under the radar of most Clemson fans. But to me, this is another good sign that Dabo Swinney is focused on getting the team back to the main goal of being a true championship contender. And when you hire experience, when you hire someone who's been around different levels of football, who's had success in different levels, I don't know, levels of football, that's a good sign to us Clemson fans, because it's saying that Dabo has stepped back. He's looked at the inexperience that he once had in his coaching room, in his coaching offices. When those guys got together, he was like, this is this guy's first gig. This is this guy's first gig. That guy only coached 2 years at another school, and now he's here. That guy's only coached in high school. That guy's, oh no. And Dabo has done the right thing by going out and getting another experienced coach to be an assistant to Tom Allen. Tom Allen's the defensive coordinator. He can't do everything. He has position coaches. But when you break down to position coaches and you break down to analysts and you break down to assistants, you break it all down. What does that really mean? Tom Allen has to have people in place that he trusts, their experience and their ability to get the ball rolling in the right direction. And the more experience that you have in a coaching room, the more experience, the more know-how, the more real life, I've been there, I've done that, I've had the sleepless nights, I've made the dumb first-timers mistakes, and I know better than to do that thing. The more of that you have on a coaching staff at a place like Clemson sets up a place like Clemson to be a true contender and have realistic championship contender expectations. And it gives you more of a chance to add another national championship to your talking points, or your, how can I say this? Everybody's talking about 2016 and 2018, and they should. If you're a Clemson fan, you talk about 16, you talk about 18, those were sweet moments. But if Dabo continues to put more and more really talented, experienced coaches in Clemson's coaching staff, you'll have another national championship. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but in the coming years, you will have another national championship to add to 16 and 18. Mark my word. A little bit about Mike Houston. I talked about it just a second ago. He was let go from Eastern Carolina. Eastern Carolina is an interesting job. East Carolina is one of those jobs to where it can be a good thing. And in their mind, they can be a little better than what they are at times. What do I mean by that? Why would you let Mike Houston go at 3-4? I don't get it. I don't know if there was something going on behind the scenes. I don't think that Dabo would have brought in someone who was a problem. That seems to be quite the opposite of Dabo's hiring qualifications. But Mike Houston has been successful. And the guy is tenured. A little bit about him. He is a little bit about his background. I think this is interesting. He's from originally from Franklin, North Carolina. I grew up in the Clemson area, and if I wanted to go to Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, that entire area of the Smoky Mountains, hit 441 there in Clayton, Georgia, and just ran it on through Franklin, North Carolina, into Cherokee, up through the Smoky Mountains. It's beautiful. You need to do that drive if you've never done that. But Franklin, North Carolina is a nice area. And so when I saw that, I was like, I didn't know that. The guy coached high school football for a while over there in Western North Carolina before landing in some capacity at Brevard College. You ever seen the white squirrels up there? You need to go see the white squirrels. I learned don't call them albino squirrels. Anyway, he was the head coach at Lenoir-Rhyne 2011 to 2013. The Citadel just for 2014. Was that the year they beat South Carolina? I can't remember. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then he went on to James Madison, as I said, won a national championship there. Had some good teams. In 2021, he led Eastern Carolina to their first winning season in 6 years. Not too shabby. Not a lot of people are signing up for that. What does that tell me about Mike Houston? That the guy has grit. The guy has longevity. The guy is an immediate. He has an immediate impact. And right now, that's where Clemson's at. They need that immediate impact. And even if he's just an analyst, an assistant to the defensive coordinator, folks, I don't care. This is really good news for us Clemson fans who are realistic about our team. We look at Clemson, we say, man, I love the orange and white. I love Clemson. I love Death Valley. I appreciate what Dabo's done. But you know what? We tanked off over the past 5 years. Just kind of fell off. I don't know what tanked off means, but just run with it. We were not Clemson. The main thing was no longer the main thing. But with Dabo hiring, and I talked about this yesterday, with the hiring of Kevin Kelly, the 20-plus year NFL scout that he's brought in to manage player acquisition and so on. It's a long title. Go read it. You'll need to go lie down afterwards. But I talked about how Dabo hired Kevin Kelly, 20-plus year veteran out of the NFL. I talked about how he hired Tom Allen, who's been around forever, really good experience, incredible experience, in fact. Matt Luke, Rump. I always get that mixed up. Anyway, my point is, his last recent hires, they're guys that have a lot of experience, but they're good at what they do. So what does that tell you? Dabo learned his lesson. Dabo learned that you have to have experience in a coaching room. And for some of you, you're like, Brian, you bring that up all the time. Yeah, folks, because coaching matters. That's been the difference at Clemson. That's been the difference in the past 5 seasons. That's been the reason why Clemson could have a lot of talent. According to 24/7 Sports preseason composite rankings, Clemson had the 5th most talented roster in the United States of America going into 2024. They had one of the top rosters going into 2023. The difference is coaching. The difference is coaching. Look at Louisville in basketball. They were terrible last year. They went and got a really good coach out of College of Charleston, Pat Kelsey. The guys turned it around in one season. Look at St. John's. They're having the best basketball season they've had since 1985. They went and got Al Pacino's brother, Rick Pitino. And year 2, these guys are on top of the Big East. You're like, Brian, that's basketball. Yep, it translates to every sport. Whether you're a manager, you're a coach, you get good experience in there. People who knows what they're doing. They know what they're doing. You will see an almost immediate change. Why? Coaching matters. And even if this guy is just an analyst, even if he's just an assistant to Tom Allen, that's more experience that Clemson can draw from. And it will get Clemson to where they want to be, holding a national championship or at least being a legitimate contender. Folks, I'm happy about this. I think that this should make every one of us cautiously optimistic. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think about the hire. Again, I hope you'll subscribe. If you like talking college football, you like talking Clemson football, I hope you'll subscribe. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.